Hi, my name is Lisa and I have a lichen problem. I cannot stop foraging for lichen. Hi everybody, welcome to episode 30 of the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. My name is Lisa and I am coming to you from Long Island, New York on a pretty mild Thursday evening in July. So it has been a few weeks since the last podcast. This was an unexpected emergency break for the family that I needed to take. So I'm just gonna dive right into Knitworthy so that I can explain a little bit about why I have been absent here on YouTube and on Instagram, and show off all the things that I've been making. So I've got a lot to catch you guys up on, and I'm looking forward to having you join me today. So let's move right into Knitworthy. Okay, so let's see. I think the last that I caught up with you guys was July 4th, which was my anniversary with my husband for 8 years married. On July 5th, we had a phone FaceTime with my mother-in-law, which is my husband's mother, and everything was normal. I was really excited to show off this yarn that she had ordered from Tabitha from Long Island Yarn and Farm so that I could make her a version of the Hampton wrap shawl. If you guys have been with me a couple of months ago, you might remember that I knit 2 versions as a sample knit of the Hampton wrap shawl with Tabitha's yarn for her samples selection over at Long Island Yarn and Farm so that she can show off the different yarns that she has to offer. So they had a llama who was a baby llama, is called a cria. So they had a recently born cria, Carly, who needed some emergency medical attention. So part of what Tabitha does when a new cria is born, which doesn't happen very often, is she has a sale. And so I let my mother-in-law know about the sale, and she picked up 3 skeins of this beautiful sport weight alpaca silk yarn blend. This color, I believe, is called Earthshine. And so I picked it up on a Friday, and then on Monday we were FaceTiming with her, and I said, hey, I picked up your yarn, and I showed it to you, and everything was super normal. And then on Tuesday, my mother-in-law needed to be admitted for emergency surgery into the ICU. I am going to respect my husband's wishes not to go into any specific details. But what he said that I can tell you is that it has been a long 2 weeks. She had emergency surgery, and she has progressed upon after surgery care from a vegetative into a minimally conscious state. So we drove down to Florida, and that's where she lives. She lives in the Newport Richey area. And so we drove down to Florida, and we spent about a week down there just kind of being there for her and to support my husband's stepfather, and just kind of send along all our well wishes and just be there with my husband's mom. We have not been to see her for 2 full years, mainly due to the coronavirus. We are thankful that the virus has progressed enough with people getting vaccinated that 1 person was allowed in at a time to visit her in the ICU. We can't imagine how difficult this kind of situation must have been during the actual pandemic, when nobody was allowed to have visitors in the hospital for their loved ones, and for loved ones in the hospital all alone. Like we can't even imagine how difficult that must have been, as this has been a very difficult period for us. So the way that things stand right now is we are still in limbo, just praying. And we're back in New York now, and I have been knitting my mother-in-law her shawl. This was supposed to be something that I was going to knit for her for Christmas. So she purchased the yarn and said, I really want this shawl. If I purchase the yarn, will you knit it for me for Christmas? And I said, absolutely. So I guess technically this is my Christmas in July project. I was not expecting to start knitting on this right away, but I felt really strongly, and I know my husband really wanted me to be knitting on the shawl for her. It was a way that I could feel close with her, and like I was doing something productive for her during this really, really difficult time. So let me dig out the shawl and show you how far I've gotten. So I had 3 skeins of this yarn, and I am freshly into the 2nd skein. So I am a third of the way done, and this should look pretty familiar, the pattern at least, for those of you who have seen my previous episodes where I was showing you the sample knits. So this is a very simple basket weave pattern, and basically it's like a long scarf that is then seamed together to form a tube, and you can wear it as a wrap or as a cowl. So yeah, so this Earthshine yarn is beautiful. It's brown alpaca, and it's got specks of light blue silk in there. I hope that that's really coming across on the camera. It's gorgeous. It is so soft. I did bring this into her hospital room, and so she has felt it. I put it in her hands, and yeah, so she knows that I am knitting this for her. And yeah, it's been a really, really difficult few weeks here, and all of this happened completely unexpectedly, no warning signs or anything. So okay, we're gonna move on away from Knitworthy right now, because if I keep talking, I'm either going to divulge more information than I have been given permission to, or I'm just gonna start crying. So to avoid doing either of those things, we're gonna move into whips. Actually, before we move into whips, I just want to say, Mary, my mother-in-law, she is like the biggest supporter of my podcast. She watches every episode that I put out. She's not a knitter. She does have a background in fashion design from her college days, and yeah, so she's been really, really supportive of me and watches every episode every single time. And yeah, so I was pleased already that she was wanting me to knit her something. So Mary, just know that I am knitting this wrap with so much love for you, and just, yeah, I love you so much. Okay, so now let's move on to whips. Okay, so the first whip that I would like to share with you today is a test knit that I had to back out of due to the family emergency. So this sweater that I am going to share with you, while it is still in progress for me, the pattern is now available for all of you to go purchase if you love it as much as I do. And that is the Summer Folk sweater by Annie Lupton of Boho Chic Fiber Co. So, okay, this is the sweater that I have been trying to get gauge for. I have just, the last time I checked in with you guys about this sweater, I was gauge swatching my pine cone dyed yarn, and then I was not able to make gauge at all with that. So then I moved on to my oak leaf dyed yarn, and I finally got close enough. So I actually, I've got 2 swatches here. The first one was still coming out too small. And so what was happening is I was getting stitch gauge, but not row gauge. And so I had read about the possibility of using 2 needle sizes at once. And so I decided to give that a try, and that's what I actually ended up doing. So for my right side rows, because this is knit flat, when I knit in the round, my gauge tends to stay very consistent between like stitch gauge and row gauge. But when I'm knitting flat, I knit continental style, and for some reason my purl stitches are very compact. I'm not gonna say tight, but they seem to be compact, and I'm getting like so many more stitches per the inch for my row gauge than when I normally knit just in the round. So what I decided to do was, for all of the right side rows, I'm using a size 4 needle, and then I have my interchangeable needles, so I put a size 5 needle on for the wrong side rows. So every row that I'm purling is being done with a US size 5, and every row that I'm knitting is being done with a US 4. And it was really interesting because usually I am really close to using the same needle size as the recommended for the pattern, but recommended needle size for this one was a 3, and it was going to be such a small sweater. My gauge was just way too many stitches per inch. So I went up 1 needle size for the right side rows and 2 needle sizes for the wrong side rows. So this is my swatch, and it's a little wrinkled because it's been just in my bag. And so this is with yarn that I dyed with oak leaves from a tree right over there on the other side of the yard. And I think it's so pretty. And so this and my mother-in-law's wrap and this sweater were like the 2 projects that I focused on for the last couple of weeks because, well, I had a test knit deadline that I finally realized I needed to back out of because I just wasn't going to make it with everything going on, and because I needed to pour my love for my mother-in-law into a project that I just wasn't planning on working on right now. So the first thing I did, and now this is very wrinkled because it has just been crinkled up in my bag, but I got the whole, so this is on waist yarn right now. So these are not straps. This is just waist yarn for the shoulder seams. I got the whole back panel. This is very wrinkled. The whole back panel of my sweater finished. And so I think that this is gonna be actually a really, really good, it's like a cropped sweater, and it's very, very wrinkled. But yeah, so it was this really, really big panel of stockinette knit flat. So lots and lots and lots of purling. So that was like the majority of the knitting for the way down to Florida. And then I finally got that done, and now is the fun part. And it is the front part of this sweater, which I can actually show you now that the pattern has been released. So I fell in love with this pattern. It's a twisted stitches pattern. I have some mistakes in here. I don't know, I was working on it in the car, and I was consistent in my mistakes, so I'm not even gonna point them out, but I'm deciding to be okay with them. So this is a little twisted stitch pattern. Annie was thinking of flowers originally, and the first time that I saw the pattern, I thought flowers too, but then with the color of the yarn that I'm using, my husband was like, oh, that's a cute little honeycomb pattern. And so now I can only see honeycombs, and I think that several other people have mentioned honeycombs as well since she released the pattern. So this is what the front panel of the sweater is looking like so far. So I am more than halfway through the chart now. I just have to get the whole rest of it done. So you can see, well, I guess I'll point out my mistake. You see my mistake is in the center of that flower and the center of that flower, but not in any of the other flowers. So it's consistent. I guess when I do the other flower for the top part, I should probably make the same mistake so that it looks intentional. But my mistake was not intentional. For some reason I am missing a row of the garter stitch. I purled on the wrong side when I should have been knitting. So, but I did it in the same exact place in both flowers or honeycombs. So yeah, so this is how summer folk is coming along, and I'm really liking it. I'm glad I did a gauge swatch because I feel like the fit is going to be just as intended in being a boxy cropped sweater. And so you guys, I can show you now a picture of the completed sweater, so I can insert that here. But the way that it works is there's like a little boat neck at the top, so this is on the back panel. Boat neck ribbing, and then the shoulders are going to be seamed together, and there's just like a boat neck opening, and then the shoulders will be together like that. And then there is like this length sleeves, like where my wrap is sitting on me right now is about the length of the sleeves. So it's a short sleeve, kind of almost elbow length cropped boxy sweater, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And I'm really liking how my oak leaf dyed yarn is knitting up. I'm gonna hold it close. I know it's really wrinkled, but every once in a while there's like a speck of a stitch that is slightly lighter. I don't know if it's really gonna read on camera, but like there's one like right here, and it's like a little lighter than all the stitches, and it's like every once in a while there's like a speckled, very light stitch in there that gives it like this slight tonal feeling to it, and I don't know, I think it looks just so pretty. So I'm hoping that I enjoy the color of this yarn on me, because I really do like the pattern and I really do love the color of the yarn. So that is I was hoping to have that as a finished object for this episode, but it just couldn't happen. But I did get this far on the drive back up from to New York from Florida, and I'll probably work on this more over the weekend. So hopefully, I do have another test knit that is due next week for Annie. I pretty much backed out of both of them. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that one done on time either. So that's the one I'll show you guys next, is the next test knit that I'm working on for Annie, and it should be out. The pattern should be released a few days after this episode goes live, if she doesn't push it back, which I don't think she's going to. Yeah, I was hoping, like when I signed up for these test knits, I was like, I can't choose between these two patterns. And she sent me both patterns and said, don't worry if you can't finish both. And so I feel really terrible that I didn't finish either of them, but it was really just due to there being such a family emergency, and not because I was slacking on my knitting in any way at all. So I know that Annie understands. She's been really great. And yeah, so that is the summer folk sweater. I feel so out of practice, you guys, doing this podcast right now. Yeah, it's I have to get back in the swing of talking to a camera. I'm still in my clothes from teaching today, not wearing anything knit. I'm just like, I have got to record a podcast. It feels like it has been forever, and I really just wanted to record an episode. So we're going with it. I'm hoping to get it in before the sun sets. I think I can. I've got about an hour until that happens. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next test knit and show you guys that one. Okay, so the next test knit is called the Lola Chic sweater, and this is a sweater for Annie Lupton of Boho Chic Fabrico, and this should be coming out in a couple of days. So if you're watching this episode right when it's releasing, Anna usually releases her patterns on Tuesdays, so you can look and see if this sweater is available on Tuesday for purchase if you are deciding that it interests you. I cannot show you a photo of it yet, but I can show you my progress because it's not anything that's going to give it away. I think that I got a little bit more done on it since I showed you guys in the last episode, but I haven't worked on this since before we had to go out of town. So this is the Lola Chic sweater, and it's got this really cute textured stitch pattern in the middle of the sweater with a couple of little tiny cables on each side of the textured stitch pattern. And this is going to be a cropped sweater with long sleeves, and I am knitting it out of Wonderland yarns in the colorway Kerfluffle on the Alice DK base, which is this color right here. And it is so pretty. I'm really loving it. So I'm gonna be really digging back. Hey, this is a little wrinkled too. It's just been crumpled up in my bag. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to just sitting down and working on the sweater. The textured stitch pattern is super fun. There is hardly any purling in this one because up until where you split for the sleeves, it is knit in the round. So it's going much more quickly than the other one. But I really love these colors so much, and the stitch pattern is super easy and super fun to knit. I can memorize each row easily, but I don't have the pattern easily memorized because I just haven't had that much time to work on it, focusing on other things. So that did not get any attention over the last couple of weeks, but I think I did work on it since recording the last episode. So small update on that. This hopefully will be much more on the way to being done by the next time I record, and I'll be able to continue showing it to you guys because I'm not going to have this finished before she releases the pattern. Annie is aware of that, and yeah, so this is gonna be like my main project for the immediate next couple of episodes because I really want to get this one done. All right, I have one more project update for knitting to share with you guys, and that is my Bright Axis tee. So let me dig that out. Okay, so I don't think I brought this one out in the last episode, so I'm going to just quickly show you guys the pattern to either introduce you to this adorable sweater or to just refresh your memory on what I'm actually knitting on. Here it is. So this is a pattern by Stephanie Lotfin, and she is the author of the Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn book. And one of the sweater patterns in the book is the Bright Axis tee, and it is super, super cute. And I have been in the endless main color stockinette section for many episodes. I had started this and gotten maybe a few inches in and realized that my gauge was way off and it was going to be huge. So I ripped the whole thing out. I actually then swatched for it and I recast on again. And today I reached a really exciting point in the pattern, and that was digging into the second skein of yarn. So I finally got through the first skein of this yarn. So the yarn that I'm using is a Knit Picks yarn. It is Hawthorn fingering base, and this was a naturally dyed offering that my FiberShare partner had, or not my partner, but the FiberShare committee had sent to me after my partner failed to follow through. And it is naturally dyed with logwood. And they chose well because they knew my favorite color was purple, and they knew that I like things that are naturally dyed. So this is a gorgeous purple. I love it so much. And yeah, so I am this is also really wrinkled, but I have this much done now, which I feel like every time I show it to you guys, I have not made any progress. I feel like it always looks the same. But since I actually had to break into the second skein of the 2 skeins of purple today, I know that I have in fact made some progress on this. So, you know, this has been my mindless knitting, just round and around and around and around and around in stockinette. I have not measured it, so I have no idea. This is about the length so far. So I'm guessing I probably have another few inches to go before I get to dig into this beautiful self-striping yarn, which is by Knitworthy Things. And this is the color Squash Blossoms from her August 2020 Vesper Sock Yarn Club, so from last August. So hopefully I will progress with this enough over the next few weeks to break into this August. Hopefully. I feel like I have been knitting on this purple yarn for forever. But it's been a really good, like, mindless project. Don't need to think. There's so many stitches in each round, so every round seems like it takes forever, so it seems like it is just growing and growing at an absolute snail's pace. But it is growing, and I promise you that one day I will get to wind this yarn because we will have finished knitting with the purple. Yeah, that is the goal, is to get to finally use this yarn and get to the really exciting part of the pattern. All right, so that is the update on all of my knitted whips, I think. Yeah, that is all of the ongoing projects. I did want to thank you guys for recommending shawl patterns for me. So let me dig out that yarn. Okay, so last episode, I asked you guys to give me shawl pattern recommendations for using this really bright and beautiful Firefly colorway of the Humble Bumble Yarn Co. yarn. I really wanted to, I was originally going to make socks from this, and then I decided this yarn is just too fun and too special. It is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and it's 400 yards. And I asked you guys to hook me up with a shawl pattern, and you guys delivered. Thank you so much. A few of you suggested the Spring Thing. I think that's the one it's called, the Spring Thing shawl. It's a free pattern by Espace Tricot, and I will stick an image of it in here so you guys can see what I will be casting on. So that is my future cast on, and hopefully I'm gonna cast on for that within the next couple of episodes. I'm gonna be trying to get as much done on my 2 test knits as I can over this next week. So I don't know that I'll get cast on in time for the next episode, but hopefully by like episode 32, I'll have that going and started and cast on, and yeah, because it's a really fun yarn. I am so excited to knit it up. Okay, that is all the knitting that I have to share with you guys for today, but I still have some spinning to share with you guys. I have some natural dyeing to share with you guys, and then I have some mystery mail that I was going to open on my episode before we went out of town, and then I never ended up being able to record an episode. So I have saved it. I have not opened my mail. So my acquisition section today is going to be just as much of a surprise for me as it will be for you. So I thought it would be just fun to just open up my mail on the podcast and just share initial reactions and all of that with you guys too. So we're gonna move on to spinning and fiber related goodness. Okay guys, so my spinning project is with this beautiful fiber. that is from Frabjous Fibers, which is part of Wonderland Yarns. It's the fiber section of Wonderland Yarns. And I am now on my fourth and final bump. And I just let it all kind of fall on the floor. So as I pick it up, you can appreciate all of the gorgeous colors in this Polwarth wool top. It is so soft, it is so easy to spin from, and this colorway is called Iris. And so I did a little bit of spinning today and didn't get too far into the fourth bump, but I kind of am in the middle of that green section right there. And all right, so this is what the label looks like for that Frabjous Fibers hand-dyed Polwarth wool top. And I don't know if the Iris colorway is still available, but in case it might be, it is number 252. I got this on a trip to Vermont maybe 3 or 4 years ago, so it's very possible that it is a retired colorway. I haven't looked in the catalog, I have no idea. So what I got done was I've got three bumps now. I think this is the one I just finished, and it is somehow coming unraveled. There we go. So this is my third singles. It is so pretty. So I have number 3, bump number 2, and then bump number 1. I love this so much. So I'm on the fourth and final bump, and once I finish that bump, I am going to ply these together into a 2-ply. So that is my spinning update. Very little spinning got done over the last couple weeks. I brought it with me to Florida, and then I think I spun for about 15 minutes, which was long enough to finish off that third bump. And then I didn't pick it up again until we got back the other day. So I think I started spinning again yesterday. And so now I'm getting back into the routine of spinning a little bit every day. So yeah, I love this so much. Okay, so I just recorded a video, a very delayed video, opening my Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club for July 2021. And so I haven't even released that video yet. It should definitely be up by the time you are listening to me talk about it. Not yet being up, it should now be up. So this should not be spoiling anything. It came like the day before we left for Florida, and then I brought it with me to do an unboxing down in Florida, but it just felt really weird and like not like the right situation to be doing a happy unboxing video at my mother-in-law's house where we were staying when she was in the hospital in the ICU. It just didn't feel right to do that video. So I held on to it, and I opened it finally yesterday, and I want to show you guys because it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you guys are gonna want to pick up some of these colors, I think, at the end of the month when they become available to everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and dig that out since we're talking about spinning stuff. Okay, so I'm not gonna show you guys like the whole unboxing because, you know, I did a whole video on that, but the theme for 2021 was Northern Lights for July. I mean, I was like, what could be in this black bag? I was stumped. Usually I can kind of figure out what's gonna be in the bag, but the black just was not giving me anything to go off of. So we got, I dropped it on the ground. So I got 2 gorgeous colors of 2 different fibers. So this one that they sent to everybody is called Aurora, and it is a merino, bamboo, mulberry silk, and what's the other kind of silk? Why can't I think? There's 2 kinds of silk. Can I think about it? Sorry, silk, of course, sari silk. Yeah, so it is merino and bamboo, mulberry silk, and sari silk. And it's like this gorgeous chartreuse color. And it has all of these beautiful, fantastic colors in it. It is so pretty. It is so soft. So I'm really, really thrilled with this. And then for the other, so this color everybody got. So everybody got Aurora. And then the other color is pure merino wool. And I'm gonna dig that out. This, you guys, if you know one thing about me, you know that I like purple. This is so me. So there were 11 colors that I could have gotten, and I got this gorgeous, amazing color. It's like, it's so pretty. It's like a navy blue and like a lavender and a light blue and kind of like a more royal purple. It is so gorgeous. I love these colors so much. So yeah, so Paradise Fibers, it's always been a win every single month, but yeah, the colors, just amazing. And so, I don't know, I'm trying, well, I am not spending more money now because we have been traveling, and we've got several good reasons that we do not need to be spending money on fiber and yarn and stuff. So the acquisitions that I am showing you in a little bit here are pretty much going to be the last acquisitions you guys see from me for quite a while. But yeah, you'll still see fiber because it's a year-long subscription, and Julia's Yarn Club is a year-long subscription, so those will still be coming. But I'm not going to be making yarn purchases. I will be fully embracing my stash over these next 6 months through the whole rest of 2021. I guess it's really only 5 months, which is kind of scary. But yeah, so that is my spinning section for today. Not like a huge update, but still some progress. And now I am 75% of the way done spinning that iris fiber, and so I am just so much closer to being able to apply those together and have actual yarn. So I'm so excited about that. Okay, I have some exciting natural dyeing stuff to share with you guys. So let's go on over to natural dyeing. And I hope it's not getting too dark for this video, but I think we'll be okay. I think the light is actually pretty okay. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at my jars. My dad has actually been shaking the jars for me while I was out of town. You guys see those red bubbles? I need to let a little bit more oxygen in here. I didn't ask him to open my jars while I was gone, just to give them a shake. You cannot even see the lichen in here anymore. I don't know if it's just like, ugh. Well, that's the color. You guys see that color? That's what we're working with right now. And so, let's see, this has been going, that jar, since the very first week of June. And these two jars here have been going since, I think, the 27th of June. So a good solid 3 weeks, almost a month now. Yeah, these two stink. Like the big one, I don't know, like I can leave it open when I podcast and it hasn't bothered me, but these two jars, holy crap, like these are just lethal. I know ammonia is very not good to breathe in, but oh my gosh, when I open it and the oxygen goes in, it just, whoo, it is a smell that you guys don't want to smell. It's pretty rancid and horrible. So beware. If you try this at home, beware. And all right, let me wipe that off there. And Hi, my name is Lisa and I have a lichen problem. I cannot stop foraging for lichen. I can't stop. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 jars of lichen, just waiting for me to purchase more ammonia and get these going. Plus I have a bag down in the basement in a paper bag that, because I ran out of jars. I ran out of jars. That is how much lichen I have been foraging. Is I had to send my husband to the store to get me a 12-pack of mason jars. I think I need some kind of foraging anonymous group to go to because I seriously can't stop. Everywhere I look, there's lichen everywhere. I cannot be outdoors just walking anymore. I am constantly looking. It's become a bit of a problem. I don't think it's a bad problem, but it's definitely, my foraging is a little bit out of control. We'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I've got four jars waiting for some ammonia and water. All right, I did some more dyeing, and so I want to show you guys because I think this is really interesting. It's one of my mails to open. Let's see, a couple, what was it, 4th of July weekend where the tropical storm Hurricane Elsa was going around, right, down in Florida. It was like, that was around the 4th of July, right? And so, yeah, it was like early July. So we had like the remnants of that storm come through here. So we had all kinds of branches and leaves down again. And so I picked up another couple of bags of oak leaves and I made another oak leaf dye bath and dyed some more oak leaf yarn. And so I have 3 beautiful skeins of, is this one I think that this one is merino nylon, right? Yeah, this one is, it's 80% extra fine merino wool, 20% nylon. It is a fingering weight yarn and it turns out like this. And so you guys might be saying, okay, Lisa, we've seen this before. Same oak tree. I'm gonna dig out the test knit that I showed you guys that is also out of my oak leaf yarn and show you the drastic difference in the shades. Yeah. So I have it all folded up here. Let's just get the back of the sweater. So this is the back of my sweater and this is the oak leaves. Same exact, I mean, approximate exact amount. I filled up my dye pot. I filled up a large brown paper Target bag, like one of those large bags with oak leaves. And then I chopped them all up and my dye pot was like 6/8 of the way full. It was like really full. And so this is what I did a month ago. And look at how much lighter this one is with like the same quantity, leaves from the same exact tree, and they are so different in potency. Potency, would that be the right word? Depth of color is a lot less, even though I used the same quantity of yarn. I mean, the same quantity of leaves. So the only difference is that there's no nylon in this at all. It's 100% wool, but it's superwash wool. And I decided that if I'm naturally dyeing, I just kind of want to stick to more organic wool and don't really want to have superwash. So I've been ordering wool that is organic and has no superwash in it at all. And so this has a little bit of nylon too. So this is 80% wool, 20% nylon, and not superwash. And this one is superwash. So I don't know if it's just because of the superwash treatment or just like leaves from a month later, or why there's such a drastic difference. Well, I can't tell you guys, but I'm pleased with it. I think it is beautiful. And I think I mentioned that I am going to be starting a shop, not in the immediate future, but I am starting to just dye up some extra quantities of yarn. And when I have a variety of things to offer, more than just tan yarn, I'm going to put it up in like an Etsy shop or something. So I think that these 3 are going to be in my Etsy shop whenever I open that. Probably won't be for 2 or 3 months, so not just yet, but I need to have more than 3 skeins of yarn to put in there. So yeah, so this was one different dye lot of oak leaves yarn. Such a difference in color, I thought. So I thought that that was interesting because literally it's the same exact tree, the same exact yard. All of the leaves came from the same exact trees and just achieved such a different color. And I love that about natural dyeing, how you just can't predict. Yeah, neither was mordanted either. Like because oak leaves have natural tannins in them, I did not mordant either yarn before dyeing it. So that's another thing that can affect the color and the shade. But no, neither had an alum mordant or any kind of mordant, just the regular old oak leaves, and that was it. Okay, so there's more. All right, guys, I am so excited about this one. This one was an unplanned dye experiment. I was hanging out, spinning one day, hanging outside with Owen, and my dad came out and started to trim back the branches from this mulberry tree right here. So there's no mulberries on it right now. I guess, I don't know. I don't remember seeing them this year, but my dad says that they already kind of came and fell and went. Usually I notice plenty of dark berries like on the deck here, and I just didn't see that. And I've been outside a lot this year, so I don't really know how I missed the actual mulberries. But you can bet that I was not about to let my dad cut down branches and leaves from this tree without hoarding some for some dye experiments, okay? I have a whole bin of bark that I have not yet even gotten to cut up or anything, because this was like a couple days before we unexpectedly went to Florida. But before we went to Florida, I did right away that same night start my mulberry leaf dye bath, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited to show you guys this one. Are you ready? All right, here are mulberry leaves, and this is also that same sock yarn as the oak leaf yarn that I just showed you. So it's 80% merino and 20% nylon, all organic, no superwash on it, okay? What? You guys see the depth of this yellow? So, okay, it is so pretty. It was drying, like it was still wet when we went out of town, so it has just been drying in the bathroom for like 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that. And I came home the other day and I was just so blown away by how yellow this yarn is. So much more depth of color than like the dandelions. That was a much more pale yellow. So I have 4 skeins of this gorgeous yellow. I'm probably not going to keep them all for myself. I bought this yarn to put in the shop. It is so hard not to just want to keep everything. But I'm gonna end up with so much yarn and I'm not gonna be able to knit it all. So I'll probably keep 1 or 2 for myself, and then a couple will go into the shop. But I had so much dye bath left over with still a lot of color in it. And so I felt like, I was like, I really do not want to just dump this dye bath. But I was like, okay, let's see, we're going out of town. I can't use it right away because we were literally like leaving the next day and didn't know how long we were going to be gone. So I sent my husband to the store and he got me a dozen mason jars, and I filled up with the extra dye bath just about 7 mason jars. So I'm going to be doing a second dye bath of the mulberry leaves. It's just, it was too good a color for me to just dump that remaining dye bath. I was like, no, I have to somehow save this. So I have like 7 jars, 7 jars of like this yellow dye bath in like a little tiny mini fridge in the basement. And Bryce was joking. He's like, it's like the Jolly Green Giant pea is like in the fridge or something. So it's, yeah, I mean, it basically looks like urine. It basically looks like I've got 7 jars of urine in the fridge. So yeah, thankfully we have a small little mini fridge, and I did not have to put that in the upstairs fridge because that was taking up a lot of space. So yeah, I'm excited to compare a second dye bath and see like how strong the color is out of a second dip, because there's so much color in there just waiting for yarn. So yeah, I've got another 4 skeins, 2 different bases I'm gonna try with the next one. It's not gonna be the same base. And yeah, I'm hoping for some, not quite as saturated as this yellows, but I'm hoping for some good yellows. Oh, and my husband, actually, he made a really interesting observation in that he said that these leaves here, so it's this tree right here. You guys, like, it's really, I'm not doing a great job. Can you see those leaves at all? I don't know. I didn't do a great job with that camera angle there right now, but I mean, my dad trimmed away all the leaves that used to hang over the deck right here, so they're not just kind of in the way. But yeah, Bryce said that these leaves in the autumn turn yellow, and so he was kind of making the observation that the color of the dye that we're getting is kind of the color of what the leaves turn in the fall. And if you think about it, like the oak leaves, most of those are pretty brown when they fall, at least the ones in our yard. So I would be super interested to find like some leaves like maple. I don't think we have a maple tree in our yard though, so I'm gonna have to go find maple leaves from somewhere else and see if I get more of a reddish color, because I'm pretty sure that maple leaves turn red. You know, just kind of find any leaves that start to turn red in the fall and see if those produce a red dye. They must, right? So I think that that was a really interesting observation that he made, and I bet it's probably true. So I'm gonna see if come fall time, if we can confirm that. All right, so I do have some mulberry bark. I'm not really sure that the bark is going to be a really great color. It might be kind of more of a creamish color, so I'm gonna still try it because I just have to know, and I need to know, and I have all this bark. I'm not gonna let it just sit here, but I'm probably not gonna throw in like 4 skeins in case it does turn out like cream. I actually only put 2 skeins in initially to the dye bath, and then when I pulled it out after like an hour and saw the shade of yellow I was getting, I was like, heck, I'm doing two more skeins in, because I had mordanted, I had mordanted 4 skeins of yarn, and I was afraid to put all 4 in, not knowing quite what color I was gonna get. But as soon as I saw the gorgeous yellow, I just threw all 4 in. I was like, this is fantastic. All right, so while I was in Florida, I foraged a little bit on the way back up to New York. So I want to show you guys what I foraged for. Okay, so we were driving down to Florida and my husband was just looking out the windows and he's like, can you dye with Spanish moss? And I was like, what's Spanish moss? Mind you, I lived in Florida for 7 years. I had no idea what Spanish moss was. I just didn't pay attention to such things. I was heavily involved in my flute career, teaching and performing in Orlando Orchestra, Florida Orchestra, all of that stuff. I was just doing flute stuff down there and definitely was not the nature girl that I am starting to become today. So, of course I looked it up right away, and you can dye with Spanish moss. Thinking it might get like between like a light tan to grayish, greenish, khaki kind of shade, maybe. So I foraged. I've got several bags of Spanish moss. So this is going to be a dye experiment. We took it right from several trees because apparently there's a really itchy bug called chiggers that you can only see with a microscope, but apparently they kind of are on the ground. And so I did not feel like bringing chiggers back to New York and getting all bitten up. So yeah, everything I read was like, try not to pick it off of the ground because it could be infested with chiggers and you won't even know if you got bit for several hours because they're like microscopic. So thankfully no chigger bites, just plain old mosquito bites from Florida. But yeah, I've got several bags of Spanish moss to do some dyeing with. I collected a lot of it because what I find when I'm using actually foraged materials, I've never used like a dye extract to dye with, just actual things that I foraged myself, is that the more dye material you use, the better chance of a saturated color that you can get. So I collected a lot. And then I was looking at the trees that were there and I said, hey Bryce, can you look up and figure out for me what this is? So some of you guys might know what this is, but we figured out that it is a bald cypress cone. So the bald cypress tree is a kind of, I guess, conifer tree? Conifer? Early botanist here, no idea. But yeah, it's like a pine cone, some kind of pine tree. And it produces these cones, and I don't know how much they smell. They smell so good. But there's like an orangish sap in the middle of it. And so I know that you can dye with various cones, and I've dyed with pine cones before. And I don't know exactly what kind of color I'm going to get from these, but I collected, I did not pick any of them off the trees, just there were so many on the ground. I have like this huge bag full of these things. And so I brought those back too. I mean, the trunk of our car was filled with like bags of Spanish moss and these bald cypress cones. My husband thinks I'm kind of nuts. But yeah, so I did manage to do a little foraging before we left Florida on the drive home. And now that is all the dyeing I have to talk to you about today. I have some avocado pits and peels ready to go, so I'm hoping that sometime this week, I will get to the avocado dyeing, which I have done before and produced a beautiful pink. So I am looking to get something other than brown and yellow to show you guys pretty soon. So that will be coming up, and now it's time to open my packages. So we're gonna move into acquisitions. If you guys don't want to see what I got in the mail, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't like that kind of thing, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and giving me the thumbs up on all of these videos. It's really helping my channel being shown to more people, so I really, really appreciate it so much. I'm like 13 people away from like 2,000 subscribers now. So if you are watching and you are one of those 13 people who are not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it so much. Yeah, so let's open up my mail. Actually, really quick, I noticed just now that there were a couple of mulberry leaves on the ground that were, I mean, this one kind of eaten up and turning brown in bits, but do you see all the yellow that is in that leaf right there? So yeah, that's a pretty reliable source of potential dye color, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that really quick. Okay guys, I really don't have that much mail to open, but the two things that I have are going to be a surprise for me. So it's like mystery mail, which is kind of the best kind of mail. So let's see, several weeks ago, my Knitworthy Things Sock of the Month subscription came in, and maybe I don't even need scissors. I decided to just save it and open it for you guys on the podcast. So yeah, I mean, I know that there's going to be 2 skeins of self-striping sock yarn in here for the 2 different clubs, but I don't know what colors they're going to be. So let's dig into this Knitworthy Things mail and find out together. Okay. Uh-oh. What do we have? We've got some blue tissue paper. All right, I didn't open both, but the first one is Vespers Sock Yarn Club. All right, this is June 2021, and this is called Collide. So this is a 75% superwash nylon, 25% nylon base. So this is pretty gorgeous. Look at those colors. I love the deep burgundies and yellows and, oh my gosh, some brown in there. And then there's a little mini that it looks like it's based on the gray and has some like plum and bluish speckles in it. And maybe a little bit of gold. Yeah, like over here, there's like a little bit of like gold in there too. So that is really pretty. All right, so that's the first skein. The second one is very different. I love how different they are. Okay, so this is her Remix Club, which is when she reimagines a colorway that she previously did in years past. So this one is called Moon Dance Remix, and it is pretty much the same base. It's 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, and then that extra 5% is the sparkly stellina. So those are some really pretty colors. Mint green, purples, gray. Is that black in there too? I don't know if that's black or just like a really deep purple. Really not sure. But that is super pretty. So that is the mail that I got from Julia over at Knitworthy Things, was these 2 sock skeins. All right, so that was fun. Okay, and it looks like I am barely going to have enough daylight to open this box here. So this box is from Knit Circus in Wisconsin. And if you guys remember my Flight of the Bumblebee yarn that I showed you, it was like a singles base. And when it's knit in stockinette, the speckles, the yellow and black speckles, look like little bumblebees. So that was the first thing that I ever purchased from them. And then a few weeks ago, they announced some mystery boxes. And so I got a mystery box because I was like, sure, I want to try more of your yarn. And I have absolutely no idea what is going to be in here, what base it's going to be, what fiber content. I have no idea. So this is truly going to be a complete surprise. So I'm going to get scissors, open this up. Let's see if I can tear that label. So I think it's supposed to be between like 250 and 350 grams of fiber. Like, that's all that I know. Oh my goodness. All right. Guys, there's so much stuff in here. I'm so excited. Look at everything in this box. Okay, I am really excited. All right, the green one is jumping out at me. So let's have a look at what this green one is. This is Knit Circus Greatest of Ease, and it is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. So it is 400 yards. It is always something noisy. So it's 97 grams. So I guess the short yardage, they put this on sale because there's a few knots in here. So that's the kind of thing you can expect in mystery boxes. It's like things that are imperfect, one of a kinds, things that they're not quite up to their normal standards. It's yarn, it works for me. I really like the color. This is really pretty. So it's like a gradient, like a green gradient. So that's gonna be really fun. And it is called, oh, it's a prototype gradient. It's called It's a Snake. It's a snake. Maybe I should knit a snake for Owen out of this. So we'll see. So that is beautiful. Okay, and then I have like 3 more things in here. All right, this is overstock of Knit Circus Yarns Breathtaking BFL. It is 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester wool. Oh my gosh, it's 205 yards. So this is just overstock. The color is Femme Fatale Impressionist. Okay, so it's 205 yards. Also kind of looks like a gradient in like some berry colors. So pretty. So that'll be really exciting too. All right, so those things. Then this looks kind of like watermelon. Let's see what this is. Divine DK, 100% superwash merino wool. All right, so there's short yardage in this. It's instead of 195 yards, it's only 156 yards, and it's 60 grams. And so this was a prototype of a speckle. So it just says speckle prototype, and it kind of looks like a watermelon shade between the white and the pink, between like a darker pink and a lighter pink, and the little bits of green in there. I'm kind of seeing watermelon, and I seek out watermelon colored yarn, so this is a win for me. Really like that. So that is Divine DK. That's a DK base, which is great too. I don't have like a huge stash of DK. And then there's one more thing in here, and this is blue. And all right, this is also Divine DK. So this one is 260 yards, 100 grams, and this is on sale because there are knots. Those knots will get you every time. People don't like knots. I don't mind knots if it means I'm getting yarn on sale, right? So this is really pretty. It's like, try to get it up close there. It's like a bluish grayish, but there's some like greenish. There's like some greenish speckles in there. I don't know how well you can see the green, but there is definitely some green in there. So that's really cool too. So 2 DK yarns, and then is this also DK? I don't know about this one. This one looks like fingering. This one doesn't say. Yes, super fine. So that's a fingering. The green is a fingering, and then these 2 are DK weight, and then these are fingering weight. So I really like it. It's like, so this is like a sock yarn, right? Because it's got 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. So probably make like a shawl or something with that, because the gradient is really pretty, unless I decide to make a snake. I don't know. But I really like that this is BFL. So that's a totally different type of wool, which is really great. And then this is also a fingering weight yarn. So yeah, and then I've got a couple of DK weights, which is great because I tend to not buy DK weight. So yeah, so that is all of my acquisitions. Yeah, that is everything. Yeah, I'm really glad to finally sit down and record another episode for you guys. I think it's been about 3 weeks now, so that's a long time, and I was planning on not having any kind of break at all. So 3 weeks when you're not planning on having a break seems like there was a lot to catch you guys up on, even if I don't have a ton of knitting progress to really show for it. But nevertheless, it was still really great to sit down with you guys and just show you guys and refresh your memory on what's going on, explain why I have been gone for a few weeks, and just get back into the swing of it. I have missed chatting with you guys, and I'm so glad to be back. Don't forget to hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, and please be one of the next 13 subscribers to get me up to 2,000 subscribers. And let's see, just Christmas in July, there's some like knit-along threads going on. There's the Harry Potter knit-along. I have not knit on Hedwig in a few weeks, but I will be trying to get more of her done, this week. And then, so there's the Harry Potter knit-along, there's the Christmas in July knit-along going on. Sorry that I was absent for that this month. I'm just gonna keep the Christmas in July thread open all the way until actual Christmas. So just, if you haven't joined, if you've already started your Christmas knitting, come on in and knit some gifts, knock some stuff off that list. And as always, we've got the Knit Your Stash along, which I will be knitting all of my stash, not all of it, but as much of it as I can. So hope to see you guys over in the threads on Ravelry, or also you can use the hashtags on Instagram. And yeah, that is it. Love you guys. Good seeing you all again. Take care. Bye-bye.